My parents sent my son a cute toy. I noticed a red light inside it, and what I found next changed everything. Hi, I'm Noah, 37, and last Saturday my son brought me a gift that changed everything. Dad, look what Grandma and Grandpa sent me. It was one of those pink collectible toys, Labo or something, overpriced, plasticky, the kind of thing kids obsess over and adults don't understand. My son, Caleb, held it up proudly, squeezing it so the eyes lit up. I barely looked up from my laptop. That's cool, bud. Then he froze. Dad, why is there a red light in its eye? That made me look. A red LED faint blinking. From inside the eye socket. I stood slowly. My body didn't feel like mine. Let me see that. Caleb handed it over, no hesitation. He trusts me. Always has. I examined it under the kitchen light. What I saw made my stomach twist, a tiny infrared LED. Most people wouldn't catch it unless the light hit just right. I took it to the garage, closed the door, laid it out on my workbench. With my smallest screwdriver, I pried open the seam. No stuffing inside. No gears. Just a hidden camera module. Microphone. Circuit board. Rechargeable battery. Wi-Fi enabled. Cellular backup. Real-time streaming. I googled the model. SC400 Micro Spycam. $119 retail. Activation timestamp, that morning. 9:12 a.m. Right when Caleb opened the box. They'd been watching since then. Watching my son. I didn't destroy it. I documented everything. Photographed the components, bagged the toy in a Ziploc. Labeled it Exhibit A. Because this wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a creepy one-off. This was surveillance. And it came from my parents. They used to be normal. Robert and Diane Mitchell. My childhood wasn't perfect, but it wasn't dark either. My dad worked construction until his back gave out. My mom worked nights at a hospital cafeteria. Salt of the earth people. Then my grandfather died 2 years ago. Left Caleb $200,000 in a trust. Made me the sole trustee. My dad didn't take that well. My mom took it worse. My parents aren't broke, they're addicted. Dad's into penny stocks and can't miss investments. Mom's got an online slots problem that racked up $40,000 in credit cards before we even knew. They asked me once, just once, if they could borrow from Caleb's fund. I said no. They stopped asking. Started planning. The toy had been shipped 3 weeks ago. Meaning, for 21 days they'd been watching. I reassembled the casing, wiped it clean of prints, and stared at it for a long time. My son was in the next room, building Legos like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. I was done being the good son. I was about to become something else entirely. Sunday morning, I started sweeping the house. I didn't say anything to Caleb. Just made pancakes, joked about syrup flavors, kissed the top of his head. Then, while he played Minecraft, I tore through every room like a man looking for buried explosives. I started with his room. Every toy. Every book. I shook the stuffed animals, checked the seams. Dismantled his desk lamp. Pulled the batteries out of his nightlight. Nothing. Then the backpack. The same one he'd taken to school every day for the last month. Zipped open the front pocket, pencils, granola bar wrapper, a crumpled note from his art teacher. Side pocket, the one meant for a water bottle, felt off. I ran my fingers along the inside. Velcro. Hidden seam. And there it was. Black plastic, credit card sized, blinking every 10 seconds. Track Pro Mini GPS. I'd seen one like it before. A buddy from work used one to monitor fleet trucks. Cost about $40 online. This one had been active since the same day the Labo toy arrived. They weren't just watching. They were mapping his life. Home, school, soccer practice, playground, the route we took to get groceries. All logged. I didn't feel panic. I felt rage. But not the loud, messy kind. The cold, quiet kind that plans things in silence. I bagged the tracker, labeled it, and locked it with the camera in a filing cabinet in my home office. Then I called an old contact, a guy I'd met through work when he needed app security advice. Ex-police, now private cyber forensics. Told him I needed a favor. Monday morning, while Caleb was at school, I drove 40 minutes to the precinct and asked for someone in cyber crimes. Detective Brianna Stone, early 50s, steel-colored hair and zero patience, sat me down and let me talk. I showed her the evidence bags. The photos. The shipping label addressed from my parents. The timestamps. The GPS logs. She didn't interrupt. Just kept writing. When I finished, she looked up. Mr. Mitchell, you understand what you're accusing your parents of? I'm not accusing, I said. I'm proving. She nodded once. Good. Then here's what we do. They'd send the devices to forensics. Pull the footage. Identify storage endpoints, cloud uploads, linked IP addresses. If it all traced back to my parents? Felony surveillance. Illegal wiretapping. Child endangerment. I need you to do something, she said as she stood up. Act like you don't know. Let them think they're in control. That's how we get them. Don't worry, I told her. They already think that. I left the station with a case number, 2 signed evidence receipts, and a smoldering fire in my gut. At 1:14 p.m., my phone rang. Hi, sweetheart, my mother's voice said brightly. Did Caleb get our package? I didn't flinch. Yeah, I said casually, stepping into my garage so Caleb wouldn't hear. He liked it. Oh, I'm so glad, Diane said, with that sweet, tight tone she used when she was pretending to be normal. He's such a good boy. Thought he deserved a little early birthday fun. His birthday's not until next week. But I didn't bite. Nice of you guys, I said. He carries it around all the time. Lie. It was in a locked drawer labeled evidence. We were wondering, she went on, if maybe we could take him out this weekend. Just for a movie. Maybe some ice cream? Give you a little break. There it was. The bait. I smiled, though she couldn't see it. I'll check with Caleb. He's been a little under the weather. A pause. She didn't like that. Well, okay. But let us know. We miss our grandson, Noah. I bet you do. Will do, Mom. I hung up. 10 minutes later, I texted Marcus Levin, my custody attorney. Told him what I'd found, what the detective said, and what I suspected was coming. He called me immediately. Jesus, he said after I walked him through it. They're building a case. Exactly. They're trying to prove I'm unstable, paranoid, maybe negligent. Surveillance footage. GPS data. They're hoping to catch something. He exhaled. And if they do, they file for emergency custody. Claim you're unfit. Petition the court to make themselves legal guardians. I nodded to myself, which would give them access to the trust fund. Bingo. I told him about Caleb's inheritance. $200,000 locked in until he turns 18. My grandfather's final gift, and final dig, at my parents. They'd need control of Caleb to touch it. Then we don't stop them. Marcus said. Not yet. We let them file. Let them make the move. Then we hit back with everything. Evidence. Surveillance. Financial motive. I grinned for the first time in days. Exactly my plan? And if they pull Sarah into this? He asked. My stomach twisted. Sarah. My ex-Caleb's mother. She's flaky. Not malicious. Just unreliable. We share custody, technically, but she forgets weekends, flakes on holidays, and blames stress. She's their way in. I said. They guilt her, scare her. Get her to say something, anything, that casts doubt on me. Then you call her. Now. Before they do. I was already dialing. But I was too late. She didn't answer. And when she finally texted me back an hour later, it was a screenshot. A legal document. An affidavit. With her signature. Declaring me emotionally unstable. I sat in my parked car staring at Sarah's text like it had punched me in the chest. Affidavit of concern. 3 pages. Dated last week. Signed Sarah M. Carter. I read every line. Noah Mitchell has displayed increasing signs of emotional instability since our divorce. Appears withdrawn, agitated during exchanges. Caleb has expressed anxiety. It was like reading a stranger's dream. Not lies exactly, just distorted truths twisted to fit a narrative. And my name was on every sentence. I called her. No answer. I drove to her apartment. She opened the door in sweatpants, hair messy, eyes puffy. She looked like she'd been crying before she even saw me. Noah. What the hell did you sign? She flinched. I didn't know what it was. They said it was for therapy. Who? Your mom and dad. Her voice cracked. They came over last week. Said you weren't doing well. That you wouldn't talk to them. That they were trying to get you some help but needed documentation. So you just signed a legal affidavit without reading it? I skimmed it. I thought it was, God, Noah, they were crying. Your mom said she was scared for Caleb. That she just wanted to talk to someone. I took a breath. Measured. Cold. They used you. Her face broke completely. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean. Then fix it. Call my lawyer. Today. Tell him exactly what happened. I will. I swear. Noah, please. I would never hurt Caleb. I didn't answer. Just turned and walked away. Back in my car, I texted Marcus. Sarah signed an affidavit. Says she didn't know what it was. Thinks it was about therapy. His reply was instant. Too late. Damage done. But we can mitigate. She'll submit a sworn statement retracting it. I'll draft it. I replied, do it fast. They're moving. 3 hours later, Marcus called. They filed. I closed my eyes. Emergency petition. Full custody transfer. Hearing set for Friday morning. How bad? They're alleging emotional instability, neglect, isolation of the child, and financial mismanagement. Backed by the affidavit Sarah just signed. I ground my teeth so hard it made my jaw ache. They also attached photos. Marcus said. Screenshots of Caleb watching TV alone. Notes from Sarah claiming he missed a dental appointment. It's flimsy, but it looks official. They're building a case with duct tape and Photoshop. And hoping the judge won't look too close. We need to hit them with real evidence. Surveillance devices. Financial motive. Recorded conversation if we have one. I stood in my garage. I have one. You recorded them? Wednesday night dinner. They came over trying to play nice. Said maybe Caleb should stay with them more. Manage the trust fund properly. Holy. Marcus paused. Do not share that with anyone yet. Bring it to the hearing. We let them walk into court thinking they're holding a bomb. Then we hand the judge the detonator. I hung up. Walked into the kitchen. Caleb sat at the table drawing a rocket ship. He looked up. Dad, can I use markers? Yeah, bud. Whatever you want. He smiled and went back to coloring. I stood there and let myself feel it for a second. That line between fury and fear. Between wanting to scream and wanting to cry. My parents were trying to take my son. Not because they loved him. Because they wanted his money. Because they thought I was weak. They had no idea. The next morning, I finished prepping our counterattack. Copies of police reports. Evidence photos. A timeline. Trust fund documentation. My income. Caleb's school reports. The voice recording transcribed and timestamped. I wasn't just going to defend myself. I was going to burn their case to the ground. And when the smoke cleared, there'd be no doubt left about who they were. Or who I'd become to stop them. Friday morning, the courthouse parking lot looked like a school reunion from hell. Their car was already there. My parents stood near the entrance, dressed like it was Easter Sunday. Diane had that tight, sympathetic smile she wore at funerals, the kind meant to suggest sorrow, not guilt. Robert stood beside her like a bodyguard, arms crossed, jaw clenched, trying to look stoic. He looked old. Older than I remembered. But that didn't matter anymore. Their attorney was with them, Julian Ferris, high-end, high-priced, and high on his own ego. He once ran for local office. Lost badly. Still talks like he's running. My lawyer, Marcus Levin, met me by the door, briefcase in one hand, coffee in the other. You ready? He asked. Born ready, I said. Good, he said. Because they're walking in with smoke, and we're walking in with a flamethrower. We entered the courtroom. Judge Meredith Klein presiding. Late 50s. Sharp features. No-nonsense posture. I'd read up on her the night before. History in juvenile and family court. Reputation for sniffing out manipulation like blood in water. Ferris began. Your Honor, my clients, Robert and Diane Mitchell, are seeking emergency custody of their grandson, Caleb Mitchell, age 8, due to escalating concerns regarding the father's emotional stability, isolation from extended family, and neglectful behavior. He passed out copies of the affidavit, Sarah's, and notes attached from Diane, who had apparently documented my behavior over the last 2 months. Lies, mostly. Misrepresentations. A list of completely ordinary parenting decisions twisted into red flags. They claimed I canceled Caleb's last play date. That he eats dinner alone. That I don't answer texts promptly. That I stopped bringing him to family gatherings. That I was uncommunicative and emotionally volatile. Then Sarah took the stand. She looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. Ferris went easy on her. Miss Carter, did you sign this affidavit? I did. Why? I was concerned. But I misunderstood what the document was for. Concerned how? Noah's been under stress. The divorce, single parenting. But he's not dangerous. I never thought this would be used like this. Ferris cut her off before she could do more damage. Thank you? No further questions. Judge Klein looked unimpressed. Then Marcus stood. I'd like to call Noah Mitchell to the stand. I walked up. Swore in. Sat down. Mr. Mitchell, he said calmly. Are you emotionally unstable? Only on Mondays when I forget to pack Caleb's lunch, I said dryly. A small ripple of polite courtroom laughter. Marcus smiled slightly. Then turned serious. Did you isolate your son from his grandparents? I distanced him after discovering they were surveilling him without my consent. The room went quiet. Marcus opened his case folder and began distributing copies. This, he said, is a toy my son received 3 weeks ago. Libu brand. Inside was a hidden camera, a microphone, and a cellular-enabled transmitter. He handed one to the judge. Internal photos show camera module, battery pack, and the exact model, SC400 wireless unit. Connected to cloud storage via email registered to Robert Mitchell. Ferris stood. Objection. This is overruled. Judge Klein said, never taking her eyes off the folder. Marcus continued calm and surgical. Here is the police report filed by my client. And here is the forensic analysis confirming 67 hours of stored footage from inside my client's home, including his son's bedroom. He let that sit. Gasps. Shifting in chairs. Diane looked like she'd been slapped. And it doesn't end there. Marcus added. We also discovered a GPS tracker sewn into Caleb's school backpack, logging every location visited over a 3-week period. Judge Klein's eyes narrowed. Mr. Ferris, were you aware of these devices? Ferris looked rattled. Your Honor, I was not. Then I suggest you listen carefully. Marcus nodded once, then added the final nail. Finally, Your Honor, we submit an audio recording. Taken legally, in accordance with Colorado's one-party consent laws. Recorded 3 days ago. My client's parents dined at his home, during which they explicitly discussed their desire to gain custody of Caleb in order to access his $200,000 trust fund. He hit play on his phone, connected to the court speaker. Robert's voice. That trust fund shouldn't be locked away. We could be using it now for real opportunities. Diane's voice. If Caleb stayed with us more, we could manage it properly. We're not asking Noah. Silence fell. Real silence. Marcus let it linger. Then added, Your Honor, these are not loving grandparents. They are opportunists exploiting legal loopholes and manipulating Caleb's mother to gain financial control of a trust that was never theirs. Judge Klein looked at my parents like she was deciding whether to scold them or sentence them. Probably both. Then she turned to Ferris. Would your clients like to respond? Robert stood up. We didn't mean. Sit down, she said flatly. He sat. The judge spoke slowly. Clearly. This is one of the most disturbing abuse of trust cases I've seen in family court. Petition for custody is denied. Effective immediately, Robert and Diane Mitchell are placed under a temporary restraining order. No contact with Caleb Mitchell. No calls, texts, gifts, or appearances. Diane began to sob. The judge didn't stop. I am also referring this case to the district attorney for criminal investigation. Surveillance of a minor is a felony. Your actions are unconscionable. She turned to me. Mr. Mitchell, you are granted full legal and physical custody of your son. No co-guardian rights to any other party. You are within your rights to seek damages and permanent restraining orders if desired. She banged the gavel. Court adjourned. And just like that, they lost. Everything. Outside the courtroom, the air felt colder. Not the weather, just the silence between us all. Like the storm had passed but left a pressure drop in its wake. Diane was crying on the courthouse steps. Not dramatic, fake crying, real tears, runny mascara, the kind of sobs you only make when everything falls apart, and you're still pretending it hasn't. She saw me and took one step forward, like that motherly mask might still work. "Please, Noah," she choked out. "Don't let it end like this." Marcus stepped in before I had to. "Mrs. Mitchell, you're in violation of the restraining order if you approach him." She stopped, lips trembling. "He's our grandson." Robert stood a few feet away, staring off at nothing like he couldn't believe this was real. The man who once grounded me for missing curfew without calling had tried to kidnap my son through the court system, and now he looked like he was the one betrayed. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. The rage on his face said enough. As we walked away, Marcus muttered, "They'll be arrested within the week." "How sure are you?" "The DA doesn't like getting surprise bombs dropped in court. Especially ones with evidence bags and audio files. Charges are coming." Back at the car, I sat for a moment before starting the engine. My hands shook a little, not fear. Not adrenaline. Just the crash. The way your body lets go when it knows the war's over. I picked up Caleb from school that afternoon. He climbed into the car, slung his backpack down, and said, "Can we get tacos tonight?" "Absolutely." He talked the whole drive home, something about a class turtle and a kid who got in trouble for throwing markers. I nodded, smiled, let the sound of his voice wash away the static. At home, I checked his backpack again. Paranoia or habit, didn't matter. Still clean. Then my phone buzzed. Blocked number. I answered anyway. "Noah Mitchell?" "Speaking. This is Detective Stone. Just wanted you to hear it from me. Arrest warrants issued. Officers en route to your parents' residence now." I blinked. "Now? Not Monday?" "Judge fast-tracked based on the court testimony. They'll be booked and processed by tonight. I've already emailed you the incident confirmation. DA's charging 2 counts of illegal surveillance, 1 count of unauthorized tracking of a minor, and criminal attempt to interfere with custody." I nodded slowly. "Thank you, Detective. You did everything right. Your son's lucky to have you." I hung up. Caleb was in the living room, building a Lego set. Some kind of space station with tiny astronauts. He looked up and smiled. "Want to help, Dad?" "Always." We sat on the rug together, and for a few perfect minutes, there was no court, no affidavits, no betrayal. Just plastic bricks and a kid who still believed the world was mostly good. Then my phone buzzed again. Another blocked number. I ignored it. If they were calling me from the back of a police car, I didn't need to hear it. What mattered was right in front of me, Caleb lining up blue bricks like fuel cells, humming under his breath. We built a landing platform. Then a shuttle. Then he looked up and said, "Hey, Dad?" "Yeah?" "You're better than a superhero." My throat tightened. "How come?" He shrugged. "Superheroes save the world. You just saved me." The following Monday, I sat in the district office signing formal statements while my phone buzzed every 10 minutes with texts from people who hadn't spoken to me in years. Some offering support. Some not. Word spreads fast when your parents get arrested for putting a spy camera in your kid's toy. Aunt Melissa called me vindictive. Uncle Don texted, "Family is family, Noah. You don't take them to court." I didn't respond. The people who knew the truth didn't need explanations. The ones who didn't never would. Later that afternoon, Marcus called. "Your parents are officially out on bond, $10,000 each. No house arrest, but full no-contact terms enforced. They so much as wave in your direction, they go back in." "What about Sarah?" He sighed. "Judge didn't file charges against her, but her custody is on ice. Supervised visits only. 1 afternoon a month, 2 hours. You can challenge that later, but for now, let it sit." That night, Sarah showed up at my door. Unannounced. Eyes puffy. Holding a grocery bag with Caleb's favorite granola bars. "I'm not here to make excuses," she said. "I'm just trying to show up." I didn't say anything. Just stepped aside and let her in. She sat with Caleb on the couch, watched him play Mario Kart, asked him about school, his new library book, what toppings he wanted on his birthday pizza next week. She was present. Really present. For the first time in a long time. I didn't trust it. But I didn't stop it. When she left, she looked at me like she wanted something, forgiveness, maybe, and asked, "Can I come to his birthday?" "No." She blinked. "But I show up to every visit. On time. Stay clean. Read what you sign. Then we'll talk." She nodded slowly. "Okay. That's fair." 2 days later, I got a call from Caleb's school. Principal Lanning. Noah, she said calmly. Your mother came by today. Everything froze. She said she was here to pick Caleb up for a dentist appointment. Our front office assistant almost released him. Diane was still listed as an approved pickup from last year. But she didn't take him? No. I remembered the restraining order. Took Caleb to my office. Called the police. I exhaled. My hand was clenched around the phone so tight my knuckles ached. She's in the parking lot right now. Refusing to leave. Officers are on the way. I'll be there in 10. I hung up. Grabbed my keys. Caleb was safe, that was all that mattered, but the betrayal landed like a delayed punch to the ribs. After everything, she still came for him. Still thought she could win. When I got to the school, a squad car was already there. Diane was in the back seat, sobbing, mascara running down her face, hands cuffed behind her back, shouting muffled pleas through the glass. I walked past her without slowing down. Inside, Caleb sat in the principal's office playing with a stress ball. Hey, bud, I said gently. You okay? He looked up. Calm. Yeah. But Grandma said she was taking me for ice cream. I didn't go. I hugged him, tighter than usual. You did perfect. Can we still get ice cream? I smiled. Yeah. We earned it. As we walked out, one of the officers approached me. Mr. Mitchell? Yeah. Your mother just violated her bond conditions and the standing restraining order. She'll be taken into custody. DA will likely push for jail time. I nodded. She'd earned that too. Later, over a mint chocolate chip cone, Caleb asked, Why did Grandma lie? I took a long breath. Because sometimes people want something so badly, they forget the rules are there to keep everyone safe. He thought about that. Nodded once. I like our rules better. Me too, kid. Me too. A year later, Caleb turned 9. He's taller, louder, still obsessed with Lego and space. No more surprise visits. No strange packages. Just peace. The trust fund's untouched, his smile's easy, and the house feels like home again. People still whisper, say I went too far. Maybe I did. But Caleb's safe. He sleeps soundly, laughs freely, trusts completely. That's the job. That's the line. And I'll cross it every time. Not because I'm fearless. But because I'm his father.